Buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving deep into 2024. You know, the year that kept us all on the edge of our seats?
Oh yeah, a year full of surprises for sure.
Definitely. And for this deep dive, we're turning to a really insightful blog post that I think a lot of you will find interesting. It's called Reflecting on 2024, Triumphs, Tragedies, and Turning Points.
Catchy title.
It is right. The author is AllisonRowe569@gmail.com, and you can find it over at roamingaround.com. This post really captures the roller coaster of a year that 2024 was good for. We're going to explore the breakthroughs that had us cheering, the tragedies that shook us, and those pivotal moments that well reshaped our world.
It's amazing to look back and see how interconnected everything truly is.
Right. You know, how one event can ripple out and affect so many different aspects of life.
Exactly. And we'll be looking at how 2024's events impacted everything from tech advancements and healthcare to cultural shifts and global cooperation.
So much to unpack. But let's kick things off with a little dose of optimism, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so 2024 had its fair share of high points. The blog post highlights some incredible leaps forward, especially in tech and health.
Yeah, those were definitely bright spots.
Imagine a world where AI is more than just a buzzword.
It's practically become part of the furniture, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, think about it. Seamless integration into our daily routines, personalized learning experiences, smoother commutes thanks to AI-powered traffic management, and healthcare that's tailored to our specific needs.
And that's the reality 2024 brought us closer to. This widespread AI adoption is already starting to reshape industries, making them more efficient and potentially more equitable, too.
It's incredible to think about the possibilities. And while we're on the topic of healthcare, 2024 saw some amazing global collaboration on vaccine development.
Absolutely. And that goes way beyond just tackling immediate crises. You know, it's about building a foundation for a healthier future for everyone.
Exactly. It shows what we can accomplish when we put our heads together.
Right. We saw faster vaccine development, better distribution networks, and a genuine willingness to share data and expertise across borders.
Those are all valuable lessons that we can apply to future health challenges, like we got a crash course in global health cooperation.
Hopefully one we won't soon forget.
Fingers crossed. But let's be real. 2024 wasn't all sunshine and roses.
Definitely had its share of thorns.
It did. The blog post doesn't sugarcoat the year's darker moments. Think back to those raging wildfires, hurricanes of unprecedented strength, political landscapes erupting in protests, and the ever-present squeeze of inflation.
It felt like everywhere you turned, another crisis was brewing.
It really did.
Yeah.
It was a year that truly tested our resilience, both individually and as a global community.
Absolutely. And, you know, these weren't just isolated incidents.
Right.
They were interconnected, reflecting these deeper trends that have been building for years.
Like what kinds of trends?
Well, we saw the undeniable impact of climate change, for one, the growing political polarization that makes it so hard to find common ground, and you can't forget the economic vulnerability that global events just laid bare.
It's like we were forced to confront some really uncomfortable truths about the state of our world.
And the question is, did we actually learn from these experiences?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Did we just react to these crises, or did we take a step back and try to understand the root causes? Did we look at the role of human activity in climate change, or did we just focus on disaster relief? Did we try to bridge the political divide, or did it just get wider? These are the tough questions we need to grapple with if we want to build a more resilient future.
It's heavy stuff, but it's a conversation we need to have.
Couldn't agree more.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about an area where we saw both progress and setbacks: infrastructure. This was the year where the push for sustainable solutions really gained traction, especially in our cities.
Yeah, it felt like cities were finally starting to put their money where their mouth is.
Right? Think sleek electric buses, solar panels sprouting up everywhere, and the promise of smart technology making urban spaces more efficient and connected.
Cities are starting to realize that sustainability isn't just about being eco-friendly, it's about creating a better quality of life for residents.
I like that, making
Yeah.
cities more livable.
Exactly. Imagine a city where public transport is so good that owning a car is a choice, not a necessity. Imagine a city powered by renewable energy. That's the vision a lot of cities are working towards.
It's a great vision. But the blog post mentions some roadblocks along the way. Renewable energy projects faced obstacles, and implementing smart city technologies didn't always go smoothly. What were some of the challenges they encountered?
Well, for one thing, transitioning to renewables requires a massive overhaul of existing infrastructure, updating power grids, investing in new technologies, and sometimes even dealing with pushback from communities concerned about the visual impact of things like wind farms.
Yeah, NMBism is real.
Oh, it is. And when it comes to smart cities, data privacy is a huge concern. How do you collect and use data responsibly? How do you make sure these technologies benefit everyone and not just a select few? These are the questions cities are grappling with as they navigate this new technological landscape.
Sounds like a balancing act.
It is trying to find that sweet spot between innovation and responsibility.
It seems like the transition to a more sustainable future is rarely a straight line.
More like a winding road with a few detours along the way.
But hopefully these challenges are just stepping stones on the path to a more resilient and innovative world.
Here's hoping.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll delve into the cultural landscape of 2024, a year where art became a powerful reflection of the times.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just talking about how 2024 saw some major strides in infrastructure, particularly when it comes to sustainability in our cities.
Definitely a big theme. But let's shift gears a bit now and explore the cultural landscape of 2024. This is a year where art really became a powerful reflection of the times, echoing themes of resilience, justice, and our deep human need for connection.
It's always fascinating to see how art mirrors the emotions and anxieties of society.
It's true. The blog post even talks about how the Grammys showcase this wave of new genres and some really bold social commentary.
Yeah, it felt like artists were using their platform to not just entertain, but to really spark conversations and challenge the status quo.
Music has always had that power to move us, to inspire us, and to make us think differently.
Absolutely. And in a year marked by such intense highs and lows, music became this outlet for processing those emotions, both individually and collectively.
We saw protest songs, anthems of hope, and some truly experimental sounds that pushed the boundaries of creativity.
It was a year where music became a powerful form of expression.
And a way to connect with others who were feeling the same things.
For sure. And speaking of connection, 2024 also saw the triumphant return of live events after years of restrictions.
It was so good to be back in those spaces, wasn't it?
Oh, tell me about it. Remember those packed concerts, the roar of the crowd, the energy of being surrounded by people who share your passion?
It was like this collective exhale, a reminder of how much we crave those shared experiences.
That sense of belonging.
Exactly. Being part of something bigger than ourselves.
It's powerful stuff. Think about those sold-out theater performances where you could feel the audience hanging on every word, or those film festivals where people from all walks of life came together to celebrate storytelling.
Those events weren't just about entertainment. They were about reconnecting with our communities, rediscovering the joy of shared experiences, and reaffirming our faith in human connection.
They were like this antidote to the isolation and uncertainty of the previous years.
Absolutely. But as we were rediscovering those joys, tragedy struck on New Year's Eve in New Orleans. That horrific attack turned what should have been a night of celebration into chaos and grief.
The New Orleans tragedy was a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the vulnerability we all share.
It forces us to confront some really tough questions.
About security, about extremism, and about the measures we take to protect ourselves without sacrificing our freedoms.
And it also makes us reflect on how communities respond to such trauma.
How they find the strength to heal and rebuild.
The blog post talks about how, in the wake of the attack, the community really rallied together to support the victims and their families.
It's a testament to the human spirit that even in the face of such unimaginable loss, people find ways to offer comfort, share resources, and stand united against hate.
It's a powerful example of how resilience can emerge from the darkest of times.
And it's not an isolated phenomenon. Throughout 2024, we saw communities around the world responding to all sorts of challenges, from natural disasters to political upheavals.
Yeah. You know what? This reminds me of a section in the blog post that really resonated with me. The part about global responses and resilience. It wasn't just about governments and organizations stepping in. It was about everyday people showing up for each other in extraordinary ways.
People helping people.
Exactly. It's this reminder that we're not alone in facing these challenges. Imagine a world where, after a devastating earthquake, individuals across the globe mobilize to donate supplies, offer shelter, and just send messages of support. Imagine communities coming together to rebuild homes, support businesses, and restore a sense of normalcy.
That's the kind of interconnectedness and compassion we witnessed throughout 2024.
It's heartwarming to think about those acts of solidarity, both big and small.
And what's really interesting is the role technology played in facilitating these global responses. Social media platforms became these hubs for sharing information, coordinating relief efforts, and connecting people in need with those who could help.
It's amazing how quickly people can mobilize online.
It really is. And we saw crowdfunding campaigns raise millions of dollars for disaster relief and humanitarian aid.
Technology, when used for good, can truly amplify our capacity for empathy and action.
For sure. It was a prime example of how technology can break down geographical barriers and foster a sense of global community.
We saw people from different countries, cultures, backgrounds, you name it, coming together online to offer support, share resources, and advocate for change.
Those online communities became virtual lifelines for so many people.
They did, connecting people who might otherwise have felt isolated and overwhelmed.
And this interconnectedness wasn't limited to individual actions either. The blog post also highlights how governments and organizations collaborated on a global scale to address shared challenges.
Like what?
Well, think about the coordinated efforts to combat climate change, or share scientific research, or provide humanitarian aid. These collaborations underscore the importance of collective action in tackling complex global issues.
It all comes back to that idea that we're all in this together, doesn't it?
It does. Our individual choices and actions can ripple outwards, impacting communities far beyond our immediate circles.
And when we work together, we have the power to create a more just sustainable and compassionate world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's amazing how this blog post really captures the essence of 2024. It doesn't shy away from the tough stuff, but it also highlights those moments of hope and resilience that make you realize, well, we're not just passively riding the waves of change. We're actually shaping the future.
I think what struck me most was the author's ability to connect the dots between seemingly disparate events. She shows how a breakthrough in AI research can influence healthcare delivery, how a natural disaster in one part of the world can trigger global solidarity, and how artists respond to these big societal shifts through their creative expressions.
It really highlights how interconnected our world truly is.
Yeah, it's like this giant web.
Yeah.
Every event, every decision sends ripples outwards, impacting countless other threads. And sometimes those ripples converge to create something truly remarkable.
So as we wrap up our exploration of 2024, what's the one message you hope our listeners take away from all of this?
If I had to boil it down to one essential takeaway, it would be this: embrace complexity. The world isn't black and white. It's a kaleidoscope of perspectives, challenges, and possibilities. Don't settle for easy answers or simplistic solutions. Dig deeper, ask tough questions, and be open to challenging your own assumptions.
Especially in an age of information overload and echo chambers, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to get swept away by the loudest voices, the most sensational headlines. But real understanding comes from engaging with nuance, from seeking out diverse viewpoints and embracing the messy, beautiful complexity of our world.
Exactly. And remember, knowledge is most powerful when it's applied. So take what you've learned from this deep dive and use it to inform your own actions. Engage in your community, support causes you believe in, and be a catalyst for positive change.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into 2024. It was a year that tested us, taught us, and ultimately reminded us of our shared humanity and our collective power to shape the future.
Well said. As we step into the unknown landscape of the years ahead, let's carry with us the lessons of 2024, the importance of resilience, innovation, and compassion. Let's face the future with open minds, open hearts, and a willingness to work together to create a world that reflects our highest aspirations.